everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Show here on CJAD. That's Terry Kilakos. Hello, Terry.
What's going on?
President of Northeast Mortgages and Chartered Mortgage Broker. I'm Chantal Desjardins, your host for today. Did you run in the marathon today?
I don't want to talk about how long it took me to get
did it
from
take
freaking
you?
Plateau.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Long
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
You should have just run here.
Yeah.
Could have been part of the race. I would have given you a medal.
Just ridiculous. I dropped off the kids at my mom's house in the Plateau, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take down St. Urban, and I fly down St. Urban, and I get to what was it? What was that level? President Kennedy, right? And then it's blocked.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, so you got to turn this way, and you got to turn that way, and it was like, from President Kennedy to get here, it was like half an hour.
Wow.
It was absolutely.
But at least it's a beautiful day, beautiful crisp fall day. Good day to buy a house, maybe.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Maybe out of the city, away from the traffic, from the runners. No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of kidding, but not really.
No, hold on. I have to say something because, you know,
perfect.
We have Terry always has something to say, but anyways. So I have friends, right? And they're,
that's good.
Believe it or not.
Good for you.
Seriously. So when I moved out of my land, people were like, oh, you're moving to Dollard? Oh, my God. You have to deal with Dollard traffic and blah, blah, blah.
Coming into the city is going to be terrible.
Like, I heard it all. It takes me 22 minutes from my house to my office, which is in Ville Saint Laurent, right? So 22 minutes from Dollard to Ville Saint Laurent.
Easy peasy.
In traffic, like heart of traffic. Doesn't matter what's going on. There could be freaking construction.
Which there is all the time.
From my land to my office, it's like an hour. It's absolutely.
You've heard it here first.
Yeah, so
Buy in DDO. You can live next to Terry.
That's right.
So we're talking. Well, first of all, we'll mention the holidays. Today's a special holiday for the Kilakos fam.
Yeah.
But we'll do that later. A little tease. That was a pre-tease. First, let's start with fact versus fiction. Demystifying mortgages, which we started on, and then we got a little distracted, like we do.
Because I like to talk a lot.
I get it. Yeah. Changes in the industry, though. What was available 6 months ago? If you didn't jump on it 6 months ago, not available anymore.
Yeah, and it's one of these things that we hear all the time. You know, like I had a client very recently, like a couple of weeks ago, and he comes in and he goes, you know, I want $299 for a 5-year fixed. And I'm like, good for you. I'd like that too, but it doesn't exist. My friend just got it. And your friend didn't just get it.
Your friend got it 6 months ago.
Your friend got it 6 months, but he just signed his mortgage. Maybe he just signed for his mortgage, but it was approved, 6 months prior, or not 6 months, but a few months before that. And people kind of don't realize that interest rates are kind of ever evolving, right? We're kind of used to this thing where interest rates are going down, 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 down. However, interest rates right now are kind of stable or going a little bit up. And when you look at the average interest rates right now for a 5-year fixed, they're hovering in the 3s. And people aren't used to it. And they think that they're able to get what their friend got. Or the other thing I'm going to hear, because for one reason or another, bankers or other mortgage brokers or clients, they don't understand the differences necessarily between a variable rate mortgage and a fixed mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to hear stuff like, my friend just got 2.5% for a variable, for a fixed. And I'm looking at him, I'm going, no, he didn't. It doesn't exist. Like that maybe for a variable that exists. No, it's a fixed. It's a fixed rate. What they're mixing up is whether when they hear a 5-year variable closed, they assume that it's a fixed rate, but it's not. So there's all these little nuances that it's important when you're setting up your mortgage, you need to understand, because otherwise you're going to end up leaving our office or leaving the bank or wherever you're leaving from, and you're going to say, well, I could have gotten a different deal over here, or it could have been structured differently. Not realizing that you're comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's challenging because, like I said, even within the banking community, it's very hard to find qualified people who are going to be able to actually advise you properly. The majority of people that are working, I hate to say it, working in certain jobs within the banking system or whatnot, doing mortgages, yes, some of them are very knowledgeable. Again, I don't want to get a bombardment of emails like I usually do after I make
at Northeast Mortgages at 514-680-4674.
I don't want to get like a bombardment of emails. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm not trying to insult anyone, but you have to make sure that where you're getting your advice, the people are actually qualified to give you that advice. And if they're not, walk away and go somewhere else.
Well, they have to be knowledgeable enough and be able to explain it in a way that you understand, right?
Exactly.
There's those two things.
Exactly.
Give us a call with your mortgage questions or any real estate questions, 514-790-0800, or text us at 514-800. Now, what do you think about the people that will shop around every bank before coming to see you, before going to the mortgage broker?
I'll give you another example this week that just happened. So I had a client of mine. He went to his bank. And he didn't actually only go to his bank. He literally did the tour of Montreal. Like like there should be a marathon for that. The Tour de Caisse, whatever.
And I mean,
to
an extent, he's doing his research, I guess.
But this is the job of a mortgage broker. And this is where people lose sight of what we do as professionals, right? So you can do one of two things. You can go out, you can go to Bank A, Bank B, Bank C, Bank D, Bank E, and go to all of them. And then you sit there and you compare all the interest rates and you compare all the different products that they have. Excuse me. Or you can go to a mortgage broker.
And they'll do it for you.
And they'll do it for you because
smarter.
We have all the lenders, right? So we sit down and we look at all the options. We look at the conditions that you want and we go from there, right? Now, this specific client decided that he was going to go to all the banks and then he was going to come to see us to compare what we can offer versus what the bank can offer. The problem is when you do that, you're basically giving your name, you're giving your information to the bank, and they're basically grabbing you as a client, which means that we don't have the ability to represent you in that bank that you went to. So in this particular case, he went to his bank. His bank came back and offered him a rate of 351 for a 5-year fixed. My 5-year fixed rate with the same bank is 329.
Wow.
So he comes to me, he says, this is the rate that they're offering me. Can you do any better? I said, you've already gone to the bank? Yeah. Have you been pre-approved for this rate? Yeah. I said, no, I can't do any better.
Because you're already on file with them, so they can't.
Yeah,
whoa.
That's it.
I'm sure a lot of people don't know that, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think you're doing the right thing by doing your.
So this guy ends up shooting himself in the foot. So now he has to call the bank and basically tell them, listen, cancel my file, cancel everything I'm doing with you, and I'm going the mortgage broker route, right? I have a broker that's going to handle the transaction. So they cancel the file. I submit the file in at 329, which is what's the rate?
Sure.
Kicks back at 351. Because this is what's in the system for this guy.
Wow.
Right? And then I have to call and argue and complain and, escalate and kick and scream. And
can you get it eventually?
I got it in the end.
But it just is a lot of work for everybody.
For everyone, for nothing. You have to have faith that the person that you're going to go see, whether it's a mortgage broker or whoever, okay, you need to basically kind of look at it and say, I'm going to deal with a mortgage broker and this is exclusively who I'm going to deal with. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing of shopping around between mortgage brokers and stuff like that, that's even worse. And that's something we'll cover after the traffic break. But that's even crazier.
That's the voice of Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. A lot of texts coming in at 514-800 and the calls 514-790-0800. When we come back, we will answer Louis' text of do you charge fees for your services? And what about the real estate market in Chateauguay? We got a text about that one. But first, here's a look at the roads with Kira Yeager.
All right, well, we do have closures, so let's recap the closures, the weekend-long road work. 132 eastbound, westbound at the Champlain, we have closures.
So yeah, I got to keep you in line because we've gotten a lot of complaints from the powers that be that say that you can't do traffic breaks properly.
Oh, is that the powers that be, eh? Tell me these powers that be.
So because of that, I'm like, okay, I have to step
understand.
in and do the
Terry is
traffic
the
breaks
responsible
properly.
one. Said no one ever. Look at the text.
Why, am I not responsible?
Super response.
Am I not a responsible person?
I plead the fifth.
Whatever.
Look at text. So tell us a little bit, a little tidbit.
Textosaurus Rex.
Can we lower this thing?
Yeah. Tell us a little something, Terry. That little behind the scenes loving for the people at the home.
So, this week we're going to be in Niagara Falls.
Yep.
Thursday, we're going to another investor summit,
Cool.
which I'm going to be talking about fear at the summit and
Fear? What about
down
fear?
payments, and I'm on a panel as well.
Okay.
So we're going to be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So next week,
Yes.
we're actually going to have Eleni in the studio again,
Cool.
and that's it. So
All right.
that's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else?
What are you going to
is fun and
talk about,
exciting?
fear?
What I'm
Trying
going
to
to talk
share the
about
event
is
well,
how, unfortunately, a lot of times people that are thinking about making the move and buying real estate,
Yeah.
they get so they get paralyzed, right? So it's like analysis by paralysis, basically. So they sit there, they overanalyze transactions, they overanalyze rent rolls, they overanalyze this, they overanalyze that, and then they don't actually make a move and buy something. And
I know a lot of friends like that.
absolutely. And I had this one guy, if I remember correctly, this was probably 8 years ago, he had come to me to buy a house. And he says, I'm not going to buy now because the real estate market's going to crash. He's like doing all kinds of analysis. And
His
he's looking
own
at
analysis.
the U.S. Yeah, he's looking at this, he's looking at that. And I'm like, but it doesn't make sense what you're saying. I'm like, even if the real estate market crashes, it doesn't change the fact that you're freaking paying $1,800 a month in rent.
Crazy.
Okay? It took him 5 or 6 years. I don't remember how long it was, but it was definitely over
Yeah.
5 years. So price of real estate had gone up.
Obviously, it always does.
He had, well, it doesn't always go up.
No?
I don't want to say
It's
that
going to go
because
up.
if
Like,
you
you
look
bought
at,
a house in 1970, it's $30,000. Now it's
Yes,
$250,000.
yes,
It's always going
yes.
to go up.
yes, over the long period of time, I agree. But I mean, you could end up buying something here and it goes down
Right,
a little
right.
bit, and then it'll
Short term.
ultimately go back up, like in the States, right? So if you look at, this.
I know, Miraba's going to make it higher.
Yeah, just to hear when we're back.
Miraba's the responsible one.
Seriously, apparently. So, yeah. So the guy's paying he's paying rent. He's paying a higher rate for this property now that he
Right.
bought. So had he bought when he was supposed to
Yeah.
buy, it would
Well,
have been very different. for him.
One of my best friends has a place in Old Montreal, and it's very expensive rent, but she doesn't want to buy because she's like, well, I can't, for what I can afford, I can't afford this kind of an apartment, to buy. So I'm just going to keep forking out all this money in rent every month. But like, isn't the responsible thing to, get a smaller place that you can't?
Well,
Even though you're living in luxury.
you have to remember something. Every mortgage payment that you make, there's a portion that's interest and a portion that's capital. I'm looking at Marav. I don't know what she's doing. She's like, so there's a portion that's interest and there's a portion that's capital, right? So that portion that's going to your interest is actually helping you get into, like, actually build wealth, right? Build your net worth. Are we back?
We gotta go, guys. We gotta
Okay.
go, okay? Some of us have a radio show to do.
Okay.
And we got calls. It's the Real Estate Show here on CJAD with Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker, and myself, Chantal Desjardins. We have a call coming in. Michael, and I like this. Usually you say the location of where he's calling from. He's calling from his car.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, just coming back from Lake Louisa.
Oh, beautiful.
I have a house there, and have to sell. It's a great four-season house, but there's so much for sale on the lake. Now, I'm just wondering if these new mortgage regulations have a lot to do with people buying secondary properties.
Wow.
Have you seen a big
yeah.
decrease?
So, I could tell you, I have a place up in Saint Adolphe, and we also have another property for sale in Valmorin. And the average time that it takes places to sell, when you're talking about the Laurentians and stuff like that, it's a year and a half. Even if you price it right and stuff, people are not going to look in the summer. They're not going to want to look in the winter. They're going to look in the spring. Like, there's all kinds of rules that people have. As far as the mortgage rules go, it has become increasingly difficult for people to qualify for secondary homes, just because now you're qualifying on the higher Bank of Canada rate, and because you're qualifying the mortgage on the higher Bank of Canada rate, it does become a challenge, especially if they already have a place in the city.
Yeah, because nobody's been getting any bites anywhere, anyhow. It's like just the phones aren't ringing at all. Whether I'm with like Duproprio or my neighbor, he's with a real estate company, he's getting business, but nobody's calling, nobody's offering, nothing. It's really strange.
It really it's I know, I agree with you. I agree. And like I said, the people that are buying, they want to buy really cheap and they want to fix up. So the house, yeah. So the houses that sell in my neck of the woods are the ones that are basically, priced under 150,000, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's not on our lake, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
So is there anything he can do? Is there anything any of these guys can do to?
No,
like,
it's a waiting
just
game.
wait it out?
It's a waiting game, and most likely the action is going to start in the springtime over there. Or you might get the odd person that's going to, depending on how close you are to ski hills and stuff like that, you might get some traction on that. For us, we're close to Morin Heights, so because of that, we do tend to see people buying pre-winter to get themselves ready for the winter. But if you're not close to ski hills or anything like that, chances are it's going to be the spring.
Right.
All right.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye-bye.
So a lot of texts coming in. Louis, do you charge a fee for your services? Let's start with Louis.
No.
Thank you. Moving right along.
No, there's no, and it's one of these things that people think that we have like some sort of a hidden fee somewhere. And I've had clients that are like, Terry, you're awesome, and when do we get your bill? And I'm like, there is no bill. And they're like, I don't believe that. We're gonna get it at the notary. There's no bill. The only time that you might pay for us a fee is if we're setting up a commercial mortgage for you, or if it's a situation where we have to set you up with a private lender. In those cases, there's fees involved. But when you're setting up a regular type of a mortgage, whether it's a triplex, fourplex, doesn't matter. There's no fees.
Excellent. We got a message from.
Excellent.
Got a message from someone. Write your names down when you text in so I can say, hi, what's happening in the real estate market in Chateauguay? Is it still a good place to buy? We're going to say that it was Betty.
It is.
Because she didn't put her name.
How do you know it's a woman?
I don't know. I
Shouldn't
just assumed it was
shouldn't you-
hyphen. So I just thought that was like a direct.
Shouldn't you have like some sort of like unisex name?
Sure, like I met a Sean the other day, a woman Sean.
Okay.
But I've never heard Sean as a woman before. Now I have. We're getting off track.
All right. So in the market is actually really good. We actually have a lot of people looking in Chateauguay. The interesting thing about Chateauguay, it's not that far. It's obviously off the island, and we're going into the south, but it's not bad, and it's not crazy far, especially if you're not going into, what do you call it, the city, right? If you don't have to take bridges that are in marathon mode. Okay, we're not going to talk about that right now. As you can see, I'm very bitter about that today. Anyways, but it's pretty good, and there's a lot of traction. There's a lot of people that are actually looking to buy out there, and the reason why is because house prices on the island have become very expensive, and now especially with the mortgage rules being what they are, making people's buying power just drop through the floor. Now all of a sudden people are looking for other options, so they are looking in Chateauguay. They're also looking further west, so you'll have places like Vaudreuil. You have places like kind of like really out are starting to get a lot of traction as well, and the prices are starting to go up over there just because that's where it's affordable for people to go. It's not in the city anymore.
We're demystifying mortgages with Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages. Call us at 514-790-0800 or text us at 514-800. We just got Terry. Can someone get a mortgage if they have bad credit but a good job and cash to put down?
Yes. So if you listen to our show long enough, you're going to know about our financing triangle, right? So we have 3 elements that are required when you apply for a mortgage: credit, income, equity. When there's a lack in one of the elements, so for example, if there's bad credit, that means that on the credit element, you're very low, then the other 2 sides have to make up for it. So you have to be able to, on the income side, afford a higher interest rate, because if you're going to go with a B lender, you still have to qualify. So you have to be able to have a decent enough income to support that. And typically, if you're going on the alternative side, they're going to request that you actually put a larger down payment, typically anywhere between 25 to 35%, depending on how bad the credit is. So yes, you could still get it. It's just a matter of whether or not it's something that you would want to do.
Another text coming in. Hi, guys. My name is Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I'm selling my house, and I found out there's a lien on my house. Bought the house in 2010. The lien was put on in 2011 against the old owner. What can I do? Ooh, that's a juicy one.
Yeah, that's the notary. The notary should be able to prove, obviously, that it's not, Mike has nothing to do with that property and that debt, and the notary should be able to radiate it. And as far as this goes, I would contact the old tenant, or sorry, the old landlord, property owner, whatever you want to call him, owner. This is what happens when I don't have a lot of coffee.
I understand.
Call the old owner, and they're going to have to actually pay for that.
Wow. But how can you get them to do that? They're probably like, nah, we're good.
It depends on, how far you want to actually take it, right? I mean, it's going to cost $200-$300 to have that removed.
Yeah.
You can go after them for it. But again, whether or not it's worth it to go after them for $200 or $300, that's up to you.
That is Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and Chartered Mortgage Broker. We'll get to more of your calls at 514-790-0800 and more texts at 514-800 coming up after the break, including, we just got a text saying about the negative aspects of asking for a mortgage payment. Ooh, juicy.
Not a mortgage payment, a payment holiday, it says.
Asking for a mortgage payment holiday. Like I said, that and more coming up after this.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Mortgages.
You know when you don't want anyone to miss out on something big? Well, meet for...
Okay, where's my gum? I just dropped my gum. Oh my god.
You just dropped,
And I just fell.
chewed up gum?
It fell out of your mouth?
No.
Oh.
I popped it out of the little container and it fell.
Oh, my
Oh, I thought it fell out of your mouth.
5-second rule.
People can hear you.
Hi, everyone.
According to Mel Robbins, it's okay if I pick it up within 5 seconds.
That's
I don't
not
think
what the
that's
book is
accurate.
about.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I feel like
Boom! I
that's
picked it up.
That's not accurate.
That's not what the book is about.
That's not what it's about.
I don't
Why?
know why I couldn't.
Marav,
do
get in the camera. On camera. Your hair looks delightful today. Just got it done.
The lovely Rima at Salon Deauville.
Oh.
Real nice.
A little plug there. Plug.
Yeah, it didn't work. This thing.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Forget it.
Terry, you want to show off your hair too?
No.
Do the wave.
Do the wave.
You know what? If we have a show on October 31st, I'm wearing a wig. Do we have a show on October 31st?
Please don't.
September? After September is October. No, it's a Wednesday. But I think that the Sunday before, on the 28th, we should actually wear costumes.
Probably.
We can actually have... Are you ready?
Let's call Terry Kilakos.
We should actually do a show
Probably.
in pajamas. Like a Playboy kind of like
flannel or lingerie?
whatever.
Yeah,
either way.
like what? Maybe I'll wear flannel, you'll wear lingerie.
Sure. Okay, that works. Like Monty Python style. You know? That could work.
Think about it. I'll think about it. I'll definitely think about it.
Or we can wear like Spider-Man and Batman PJs.
Right? Do they make that in grown-up size?
I'm pretty sure they do. There's a lot of people out there that would wear like Spider-Man and
Yeah,
Batman
they probably wear it
PJs.
like without telling anybody. Like, it's their secret fetish. Spider-Man fetish. Or whatever. That's a thing,
What's
I think.
wrong with Spider? Okay, our viewers, does anyone out there that's an adult have Spider-Man or Batman PJs?
People aren't going to admit that.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like they won't. I feel
I
like
think
that's
they
a
would.
secret thing.
What are we looking at?
So what do you want to,
I don't know. Well, we have a ton of text anyways.
Yeah, I know, but we still need 2 more.
we still need to
Which
keep it
one's
going.
important?
What do you like,
Yes. Yeah, that one is good.
8?
9.
9?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we'll
9 is good.
jump ahead to 9.
I think so.
Well, to the text first, I think that's priority.
Yeah.
And then number 9, and then
Asking
Are
for
we-
a mortgage payment.
Holiday!
It's a payment holiday. You're basically saying, can I
You wanna
not
take a
pay
break.
this
You
month?
just like
You wanna
completely
take-
missed that, eh?
What? I know.
You like completely missed to
what?
introduce the traffic. Like, not that the
Was I
news.
supposed to do that?
You were supposed to do it, but whatever.
I think Terry should become the host, and you should.
Whatever.
Did I? We're doing it now?
No,
late,
it's done.
man.
It's already the news.
And now traffic.
I don't do the traffic. I do a thing after the news where I'm like,
Oh my God, how loud are your headphones?
Apparently very loud. It's those headphones that are loud.
What was the one about the pre-approval? Oh yeah, this one is important.
Do we do that thing or we don't do that thing?
Okay. Sure.
9 and 13 are important.
Yeah.
You missed
We
it.
didn't miss it.
Okay.
I'm trying to say I missed it. We didn't miss it.
Dude, I'm trying to bug her, man, and tell her that she misses her cues and everything, that she's horrible.
You're just
and
messing with my
complaining about her.
mojo. Not listening to Terry. We're buddies now.
Anyways, point is, ladies and
Yes?
gentlemen, what were we talking about before?
Payment holiday.
What were we talking about before we were so rudely interrupted
Number 9.
by
Okay.
you know,
Okay. 9 then 13.
Wow, you guys are entertaining.
Yeah, seriously, man, entertain us. Do a little song and dance.
Yeah,
do
entertain
a
us. I
skit.
gotta do a thing. I gotta
Do
get
a
ready to hit
skit.
my cue. I'd hate to miss
Okay,
it.
so Mark Amaral said he has a tuxedo onesie. Okay,
You know
he
what's
just
funny? So
wrote
do
it.
I.
You have a tuxedo onesie.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, everyone's seen my onesie, right? My little Ted onesie.
Yeah. It's not pretty.
Yeah, not pretty at all.
It's so pretty. Like, seriously? Whatever. Y'all be hating.
So Chantal, you have a show this
Have a show tonight. Yeah, it's up in Laval. So if you're up in Laval, you can. I think I might have to do a little jump in here. Oh no. Let me look up where my show is. It's called "You'd Be Prettier If You Smile," and it's all ladies tonight. And it's at Espace Ephemer Centropolis at 7 p.m. in Laval. Terry and Marav, you'll be there, won't you, Terry and Marav?
It's the Jewish holiday.
It's Sukkot tonight. We can't.
We'll celebrate. I will do all jokes for you.
You know what I'm curious about? See,
Demystifying mortgages here on the Real Estate Show, including if you have a high net worth, do you get approved no problem? Good question. That coming up next. Nailed it, everybody.
Wow, that was very crisp, eh?
Real crisp.
Too crisp.
Crisp like a fall day.
Way too crisp.
Crisp.
The way
it's because I
came
saw
on.
you putting up the volume.
No. The way it came on. I'm listening to the station. Not to this.
Crisp.
Right now. This is the station and this is the rig.
Oh,
It
guys.
was loud. Like the way that he brought it in between the news there. Whoa. You're listening to the Real Estate Show.
We'll get your attention whether you want it or not. Yes. Why am I always nervous when Terry walks on this side of the studio?
What you doing?
Well, just thinking about the stand-up show, thinking about you guys and how you're going to be there in the front row.
Wow, the pressure, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we could put this up a tiny bit. There you go.
I want more behind the scenes.
Why don't you say a joke?
Oh.
A man walks into a bar
Ouch.
and says, ouch.
Anyways, what I was saying is I want to know what kind of onesies Myra has. Because Myra's listening right now.
And do you think she has onesies? Let me see who's listening.
Mark Amaral, Myra. We got someone from Greece.
So here we go.
Ask the question in Greek.
Yeah, ask the question in Greek. Well, okay, here we go. Oh look, live on the Real Estate Show.
Yeah.
See. Oh, we gotta go, guys. We gotta go. So.
Terry Kilakos, live online and on CJAD 800.
The Real Estate Show here on CJAD. Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. Myself, Chantal Desjardins. You can call us 514-790-0800. You can text us 514-800. Before the break, we were talking about demystifying mortgages and, making it more accessible for everybody. We had somebody text in saying, "Hi, folks. What are the negative aspects of asking for a mortgage payment holiday, like skipping a month's payment? Thanks."
Dun, dun, dun. It depends on your bank. It depends on the bank that you're using. So certain banks, it's your right, and you're able to ask for a payment holiday, no problem, and they'll give it to you. My phone is ringing.
Saw that.
I know. Terrible. Just terrible. Anyways, so certain banks are going to allow you to do that, and it's not going to be a problem, and they'll process it without any issues. Other banks will grant it to you, or they're going to tell you, well, you know what, we're going to put it to your next payment. So let's say your payment is $1,000 a month. They're going to put it to the following month, and now you're going to have to pay $2,000. And actually, I just heard from a client this week. They tried to do that, and what ended up happening is they said, "Well, we can do that, but you have to do it with our collections department." So as soon as the client was like, "Collections department, never mind,
Yeah, exactly.
forget it," So you do have to be careful, obviously, and definitely don't just say, "Well, it's my right, so I'm just not going to put money in my bank account and let it."
But
let
how
the
is it
payment
somebody's
bounce.
right? I mean, you have to make your car payments every month. You can't just be like, I'm just not going to pay it this month.
Well, think of it like this. There's certain credit cards as well that'll give you a grace period, like a holiday, right? So every summer, I have a couple of credit cards that will say, well, this month you don't have to pay anything, and I'll get zero minimum due. It's the same thing with mortgages. You have the right sometimes to just skip a holiday, especially if you pay bi-weekly and you've actually overpaid that mortgage.
Right.
You do have that ability, but again, it's not every bank that offers that.
Breaking down mortgages with Terry Kilakos. So let's say someone has a high net worth. Did they get approved? No problem. They just whiz in there and they're like, yeah.
So remember the three elements: credit, income, equity. Where does that net worth fit into that?
Income.
No.
Equity.
Maybe.
Somewhere in the middle?
Maybe. Net worth is not something that's factored in. So once upon a time, we used to have programs that if you had 2 years worth of payments stashed away in a bank account, the bank would approve the mortgage, right? We've had clients, they've come in, they're earning nothing. They have $1 million in the bank, and because they have $1 million in the bank, the file gets approved.
Right.
That was yesterday. That's not today. Those programs don't exist anymore. There is the odd bank here and there that's going to look at certain things like that more favorably. Maybe they'll allow you to go over limit on certain ratios. They're going to say, well, you got good money there. We'll leave it alone. We'll grant you the mortgage because of it.
Right.
But in the majority of times, don't forget OSFI, which is the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. I knew you were going to ask me that. That's why I said it before you.
That's what I was. You beat me to the punch.
The Office of Superintendent for Financial Institutions has put all these rules and regulations in to protect the banking system, right? And this is part of their measures. They've abolished a lot of these programs because now banks actually have to report back to OSFI and say, look, everyone has credit, income, and equity. They have these three elements. And if they don't have, a good down payment, it's insured, the mortgage, by CMHC.
Now, when you're going to negotiate your mortgage, what's the most important thing?
How it's structured.
Okay.
And it depends on if you're buying your first house. It depends on if you're buying a house, if it's a purchase in general, or if it's a refinance. Everything's going to be different. But a lot of times people are going to go under the assumption that, well, you know what, my mortgage is fixed. I don't need to worry about breaking it. I'm not planning on selling my house. I'm not planning on doing this. I'm not planning on doing that. These are all important things to look at. Why do you want to put yourself in a financial institution that's going to basically penalize you if you need to break the mortgage in the next 5 years?
You never know what's going to come up.
Life happens. 5 years is a long time. It goes by fast in a lot of cases, but it is a long time. People's lives change. You can have 5 kids in that time period.
It's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids. You can have a dog, a cat, a fish,
More like
whatever. Chantal doesn't want to have any kids.
I do. I just want to wait till there's nothing else fun to live for.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's so terrible. Wow. Okay. Anyways, the point is, okay, clear the opinions of Chantal Desjardins are not the opinions of Terry Kilakos.
They love their children.
So anyways, these are all things that you have to be careful. So you want to make sure that obviously your penalties are set up correctly. You want to make sure that the down payments are even structured. If you're buying that first house, it's structured correctly. Because if your down payment is not structured right, it'll come back and bite you. There's ways of structuring your down payment which is going to kick back to you thousands upon thousands of dollars at renewal. When you file your taxes. But if you don't know this and your banker and the people that you're working with don't advise you correctly, yes, you're going to save maybe 5 or 10 basis points. But at the end of the day, it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars because your down payment wasn't structured correctly. So 5 or 10 basis points is a cup of coffee a month versus tens of thousands of dollars, right?
514-790-0800 or text us 514-800. And now I have a friend that thought that because she was a long-term client at her bank, she was going to get the best right there. But that's not the case either.
Perfect example was the guy we were just talking about. He was offered $351 going directly to his bank.
I'm sure a long-term client.
Long-term client, okay. Through us, it was $329, the same financial institution. Now, remember something. When we're talking about being a long-term client, what does that mean, right? If the bank feels that they have everything that you have, so if they have all your investments, they have your credit, they have your lines of credit, you have loans with them, you have everything, they don't need to impress you anymore. Who gets the better deal? Is it the guy that is getting a new cell phone, or is it the guy that is an existing client that wants to upgrade his plan or whatever? It's usually the person that's getting the new cell phone. They want to attract
because they already
clients.
have the other guy.
Exactly. So you have to remember that, and you got to think about it when you're actually negotiating with a bank. Now, before the traffic at 1:15, we said that after we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about going to different types of mortgage brokers. Yes, not all mortgage brokers are created equal, but it's fundamentally the same. Whether you come to us or you go to another mortgage broker down the street, in terms of the lenders that we use, in terms of the rates, in terms of all that stuff, for the most part, especially right now with interest rates being as low as they are, it's pretty much an even playing field. You might get us that has a slightly better interest rate just because of the volume that we do with certain financial institutions, or you might end up getting certain perks coming with us because we'll show you how to structure the mortgage properly and stuff like that. But for the most part, mortgage brokers are mortgage brokers. It's all the same banks. It's all the same rates. It's all the same conditions. You're not going to be able to go from one mortgage broker to another, to another, to another. And on top of it, a lot of times when you actually go to a mortgage broker, you're going to be signing a service contract with that mortgage broker, allowing them to represent you. So again, it goes back to the same thing. If you come to me and I decide to put you with bank ABC, and then you go to another mortgage broker that puts you with bank ABC, we now all of a sudden there's a conflict. And that if that information that is supplied by the other mortgage broker and by us, there's a difference, the bank will just kill both files.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'll say, there's something fishy going on here. We got this information from this broker. We got this information from that broker. And we don't know which one's true, so we're just canceling both deals.
Wow.
So shopping around, great, but you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be running
yourself in the foot.
Exactly.
And you get a better deal than, say, the long-term client because you do such a big volume, right? Is that the main?
Exactly. I mean, we do over $200 million of mortgages a year, our office. So doing $200 million of mortgages, it kind of gives you some, weight behind you.
Weight behind you with Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. Call us 514-790-0800. Text us 514-800. We're demystifying mortgages on the show coming up. If you have bad credit, are you not going to be able to qualify for a mortgage? We'll get to that coming up. But first, let's check on the road with Kira Yeager.
There's a collision. It is on the eastbound Metropolitan in the Anjou interchange in the right-hand lane. So that will back you heavily out to before Lac-Ordère now. It looks like about a 15-minute delay, a bit of curiosity on the other side. And in the South Shore, 132 eastbound, westbound, we have closures at the Champlain affecting the ride quite a bit, 10, 20-minute delays.
On the bad credit again or no?
Yeah, we could expand on it if you want a little bit, and
then go to 13.
And then go to 13. Exactly.
Yeah, because we got a text asking exactly that question.
Did get a text asking exactly that question.
You know what? I wonder. You know what I had done last year? I had actually taken all of these paper clips and I had attached them together. Just to be that guy that does that.
Why?
Why not? So that way when someone reaches in for a paper clip, they end up taking out, like, it's a whole chain that comes out.
I see.
Yeah. His life is very exciting.
Wow. Someone needs a hobby, I'd say. Ow! My eye! But luckily nothing gets me out of my Zen-like state since starting to do my meditation. You guys gonna start doing it?
Meditation?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell the people in Facebook land about your meditation?
So I am in a new Zen kind of mode because someone told me about this Headspace app, and so I've only done it 2 days, so we'll see how long it lasts. But I did 3 minutes of meditation yesterday, and I did 5 minutes of meditation today, and I am feeling Zen as heck. Marav, you gonna try it?
Sure.
Terry, you gonna try it?
I meditate on a daily basis.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
How?
I meditate as to how lucky I am to be married to Marav
Aww.
and to have a co-host such as you. And
wow, that is real good. Smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth as silk.
This deserves a kiss.
Oh, smoochies.
Thank you.
Seriously. These guys. You guys.
17 years later.
17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, and count. Like, counting down.
17 years left, and then I'm out of here.
There's people with life sentences that time. At some point, I would think that I would have been eligible for parole.
That's
but apparently
such an old joke.
Yeah,
you know, there's a celebrity comedy night on Thursday that's all going to charity.
Okay.
And there's like a bunch of like morning people.
But we're not
is
here.
doing it.
We're not here.
Oh, bummer. I was gonna say maybe I could get you on the show and you could do some jokes for 5 minutes.
That's sad.
That
would have been fun.
I would bomb. Does it?
No, I think you'd be good.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's like, because it's all like radio and TV people, it's a very forgiving audience.
So, I have to tell the people in Facebook land what happened this week, right? So, this week there was the LinkedIn Award. So, Jamie Benizri asked me to present the award for Empire Builder. So, there was 3 nominees, obviously, for the Empire Builder Award. And your buddy from Breakfast Television,
Derek Page.
Yes, Derek was like, I think we should just read the nominees, then see who the winner is, read their profile without saying who's the winner, and then say the winner's name at the end. So everyone was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And all I kept thinking about is, I'm going to pull a Steve Harvey in this, right? So I'm going to
Start.
announce. Anyways.
We'll talk about it after.
Go.
Next break, we're going to be talking about it.
Home stretch here on the Real Estate Show with Chantal Desjardins. That's me. And Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker.
I really think there's something wrong with you.
Text
I
us.
have to ask your mom if you were dropped or something.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I was. Text us 514-800 or call us 514-790-0800. The reason I was distracted is because the texts are coming in. I have 1.1 million in the bank. Good for you, because nobody wants to give me more than the 3%. Can I get more than 3%?
Huh? What? I don't. Hold on. I'm not. Oh, in terms of interest rate?
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe they can clarify if they're looking for a higher interest rate on their money than 3%. Just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
So
we'll get back to you.
Text back.
Text back. So we had a text earlier about I have bad credit. I'll never qualify for a mortgage. And thought
Yeah.
maybe you could expand on that a little bit.
So this is a big misconception that people have, right? Oh, my credit is bad. I can't get financing. I can't do this. I can't do that. You could. But like I said, whether or not it actually makes sense to do the deal or not will depend on your situation. So for example, I've had clients which have terrible credit just because they're overextended, right? So they owe way too much money on credit cards, they owe way too much money on different things, which is impacting their credit score. So what we end up doing is we go in, we use an alternative lender. The alternative lender is going to be at a much higher interest rate, 5.99 in some cases, so quite a bit higher, but it's a temporary thing. So we do it for a year, we get in, we fix the situation, and then a year later, we take that client and we flip them out of that lender and put them in the conventional channel. You can do that, but it has to make sense. At the same time, you can even go the private route. We have private lenders with interest rates as low as 7.99, right? And in a case like that, there is a place for it if it makes sense. Again, if your house is in foreclosure and you have a choice between losing your house to the bank and losing your equity, or getting a private lender in, getting you the financing that you need to take care of the bank, and then buying you some time to be able to sell it and make sure that you get back all the equity that you possibly can, that makes sense. This is where it comes in, where you need to speak to someone that's actually qualified to give you those answers. You know, if you go to your bank or someone that's not used to dealing with alternative lenders or private lenders or whatnot, they're going to say to you, well, you can't, sorry, you're declined. It's not going to work.
Right.
But if you go to a mortgage broker is going to actually be able to sit there and say, we could do this, we could do that. And, you know.
Hey, Terry, you're a mortgage broker. They could come to you.
They could, yes.
At Northeast Mortgages.
FYI, I actually do mortgage.
Who knew?
The amount of people that like I'll meet at events and say, oh my God, I listened to the real
radio
estate show.
guy.
And they're like, great. I went to my bank and I'm like, if you listen to me, why didn't you come to me? And they're like, well, I didn't know you actually do mortgages.
What, they think you just talked about it on the radio?
I thought you were just a mortgage guy. Or
Hilarious.
the best, we get the odd person that calls and says to Olympia, Olympia's awesome. If she's listening, there's a little plug for her. So people will call and they'll ask Olympia, is Terry Kilakos a real guy, or is it like a...
Or is it a what?
Like a, I don't know, like
it
a
like
mascot
Siri
or
or-
something. Yeah, exactly.
No, he's
Yes,
a real
I'm
guy.
a real guy.
He's sitting there, right there. Talk about pre-approvals. Are they a sure thing?
No.
No.
No, pre-approval is not a sure thing. And there's 3 different types of approvals you can get from a bank. You can get a pre-qualification where you're going to go in, you're going to see a banker or you're going to see a mortgage broker and you're going to say, I make X amount of dollars. And the banker is going to say, great. He's going to punch it into his computer and I have X amount of money available for a down payment, and put that in their computer and they say, you're pre-approved for, or you're pre-qualified. Be careful of the wording. You're pre-qualified for a purchase of $450,000. There's no income verification that's done. It's all based on what you've said. Okay.
But then they actually look into it.
Exactly. So then you take this pre-qualification in hand, you're all excited and you're like, I'm going to go buy a house, and you go and you find a place and you realize that, oh, wait a minute. When you actually find the place and you go back to the bank and they look at your letter of employment, it says that you're temporary employee. You're not a permanent employee, which has issues there, or you're on probation. So these are all things that you need to look at. And then a pre-approval will actually secure you an interest rate. But again, they're not doing the homework. They're not doing the due diligence that needs to be done. So if you're in a situation where you're not salaried, or you have a temporary position, or you're on probation or something like that, it doesn't mean that you can't get a mortgage. But you have to be upfront with it at the beginning. The minute you sit down, you got to say, by the way, I make $50,000 and I'm temporary. And then the next question is, what did you average in the last 2 years? $50,000? No problem. We'll use 2 years notice of assessment to prove your income and you've got the mortgage.
Oh, yeah? Even if you're temporary now, you can still get it. Okay.
Absolutely. But if you come in and you're like, I'm a salaried person, and then we look at the letter of employment and it says that you're temporary, and last year you made 20,000 and this year you made 50, ça va pas marcher.
And you can't lie because they're going to find out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is it ever worth it to break a mortgage midterm?
Again, depends on what it's for.
Okay.
Right? Don't forget, when you're breaking a mortgage, there's penalties to pay. There's fees to pay that are associated to breaking that mortgage. Is it worth it? Is it not? It depends on the individual's situation, right? So if you're breaking the mortgage because you need to do renovations, is it worth tacking on that much money? Maybe we could tack on a line of credit to do those renovations at that point. Are you breaking the mortgage because you have debt that you need to pay off? Okay, that could be interesting, because now all of a sudden you're going to be saving on a monthly basis. That savings, you can then use it for to do investments. That could be interesting. But if you're breaking the mortgage just because you want a lower rate, it might actually not be beneficial for you.
Demystifying mortgages on the Real Estate Show. Give us a little advice to leave people with today.
Do your homework on who you're getting advice from. Very, very important. Make sure that the people that are giving you the advice are actually qualified to give you that advice. You're not just going to another salesperson that's going to, try and sell you something. For us, I always tell people, this is what I think you should do. And then I kind of tell them, go off, think about it, talk between yourself, if it's a husband and wife or husband and a husband, whatever, two partners. I'll say,
thank you for going through the gamut.
I'll go talk about it between the two of you and, come back to me and let me know what you want me to do. That is what a true professional, in my opinion, will do. Someone that's going to try and steamroll you through doing stuff, you don't want to deal with them. It's plain and simple.
And what can we expect coming up next week?
What's Eleni covering next week? Is she continuing the demystifying?
We'll probably do more
Yeah,
demystifying.
she is, because she didn't finish her demystifying as well.
Because we get off topic.
Yeah, and I will probably end up doing a small remote from Niagara, which I'm going to be at my investor summit next week, so that's going to be interesting. And we'll see if I can get a little bit of someone on the phone with us next week too.
Oh, on the
phone.
A
little surprise.
Ooh, isn't that exciting? All right, that's Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages and chartered mortgage broker. You can reach them anytime at northeastmortgages.ca, or you can call them at 514-680-4674. Have a great week, everybody.
The opinions expressed in the preceding program were provided for general information purposes only and should...
I can't believe you broke it. I didn't even see it. I would have commented on it.
Anyway.
Goodbye, everybody.
So hold on.
Goodbye.
We were talking about something. What was I
kidding.
talking about before the?
We don't really listen.
I was talking about something, and I said I would continue this.
Yeah, a lot of words.
Oh my. Oh yeah. Okay. So check this
remembered.
out. Okay. So we're doing this. We're doing this event, right?
Yeah.
And so your guy says,
Derek.
Derek says we got to do it like this. And
My guy.
I'm like, okay, no problem. We'll set it up.
You need to come in.
Anyways, long story short.
Yes.
The guy that won was Terry Lindor. That's the guy's name.
Okay.
So when I see his name.
Yes.
Instead of saying your winner this is your winner's profile, I say the Winders. Anyways,
Winder.
Hey, oh my God, it's Ola. Come.
Hi, lovely.
Look, say hi to Facebook.
You what?
I realized when I saw you that you sent
Oh.
this amazing Facebook message. And
I
I
did.
And I actually said to Mike, I read it to Mike and was like, this is amazing. And then I
No,
saw it.
turn it off, Terry.
Sorry about